Hello, my name is Dean Vaknin, and this is my presentation. It's about the process of breathing and its importance, what actually goes on when we breathe. There's a lot of things that I actually, for myself, didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of people actually do not know that happens when we breathe, and there's more to breathing than just inhaling and exhaling. So let's begin. Respiration is actually a small part of a larger cycle, and this cycle is actually known as the carbon cycle. So the carbon cycle is basically, in a simple version, all the carbon dioxide that is transferred and moved through our atmosphere and our ground and things like that. A few ways that carbon dioxide is created is through respiration of animals, us, um, through fossil fuels being burned through decomposition, things like that. Those are just a few basic things that create carbon dioxide. Um, and Carbon dioxide respiration actually begins with plants, green plants. They have chlorophyll and chloroplast in them that allows them to convert um, sunlight energy and carbon dioxide and water into glucose, which is sugar, and oxygen through a process known as photosynthesis. So green plants are basically the foundation of creating oxygen in the atmosphere for us to breathe in. Um, trees and plants aren't the only things. There's also algae and even some microorganisms that go through photosynthesis in order to create oxygen. Like algae in water creates oxygen within the water for fish to breathe, but they breathe in a different way. They don't have lungs, they have gills. They go through a different form of respiration. But photosynthesis is basically the main part of creating oxygen for humans and other animals that have lungs and to breathe. The first part of photosynthesis actually starts with sunlight, like I said, carbon dioxide, and water, as I mentioned before. Um, this happens in green plants, and they use carbon dioxide sun energy to create sugar molecules and oxygen. This begins when light energy reaches the chlorophyll within the plants, and it energizes an electron within the chlorophyll molecule. What this does is it sends the electron into the transport chain and into the thylakoid membrane. While all this is happening, each chlorophyll molecule that has just lost an electron replaces replaces their one electron with an electron from water. So what this does is it splits the hydrogen and the oxygen in water, and it allows the plant, through photosynthesis, to make breathable oxygen. Um, Another part of this photosynthesis that happens, another part of this process, is the combination of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. Um, these three molecules go through photosynthesis, and we get glucose, which is sugar, and that is also one of the big factors that we need in order to survive. Without sugar and oxygen, we wouldn't be able to do much. So this is what the formula looks like. It's 6CO2, 6H2O, which is 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water. They go through photosynthesis and they give us 1 molecule of glucose, which is sugar, and 6 molecules of breathable oxygen, which we need for respiration. So respiration is probably the most important function of pretty much almost all living things that have lungs, and the process actually begins once we inhale the air around us, bringing oxygen, O2, into our lungs. This process diffuses the oxygen into our blood cells, and it carries the oxygen through the heart, which circulates oxygen-filled blood throughout our bodies. This is really, really important because it gives the oxygen within the blood, it gives our muscles, our brain, our organs, it gives them functionality. Without oxygen, they would not be able to function. So we inhale the oxygen, and we already have glucose within our bodies from eating things with glucose, like plants. And while this is happening in respiration, our body is breaking down the glucose that we've just used or energy that we've used, and that glucose combines with the oxygen that's in our body that we've just acquired. And our organs and things like that, they've already used it. It combines with CO2, with carbon, in order to form carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is then diffused into our blood, as you can see in the little image here. It's diffused into our blood and then brought back straight to the lungs where we exhale it. In the formula, you could see that there's 1 molecule of glucose and 6 of oxygen. That will give us 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water. When the sugar is broken down and oxygen is used, we get adenosine triphosphate, which is energy. And that's how we're able to release carbon dioxide, because the glucose is broken down, or energy, and it creates carbon dioxide with the oxygen.